Welcome back to my channel. More importantly, welcome to my BL library. I am your BL librarian. Today we'll be going through all the mail I received in March and checking out all the BL manga, manhwa, manhwa, merch, and more. Before we dive in, it's worth noting that I'm not sponsored by anyone in this haul. These were all purchases made with my money. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button now and get your BL library card for the BL library. And with all that being said, let's get started. First up is Remnants of Filth, Volume 3. I am absolutely obsessed with how thick these danmei are. They're so satisfying sitting on the shelf. Now I just need to find time to read them all. Picking one to start is the toughest part, but once this one has been completed, I have no doubt it will be high on my list. Next is a repeat, Bond of Dreams, Bond of Love, Volume 1. If you were here for the first haul, you'll know I also received this volume from eBay. I spent way too much money, but here we are. As it turns out, prior to the Crunchyroll buyout of Right Stuff, I had backordered this, and as fate would have it, it came in stock the next month after I got it from eBay. Fate is cruel. I obviously don't need two, so maybe I'll put this new wrapped one in a giveaway. Would that interest any of you guys? Let me know in comment below. Next up is Hangar, Volume 4. I am super excited about this. I wouldn't say this series is revolutionary or high art, but it's one of those I'd call a guilty pleasure of mine. When I saw this cover, I was pumped. It's very different than the others, much more detailed and dynamic, and I'm always excited to see an artist's style change and grow. I can't wait to give this one a read. Next up is Pinkart Jam, Volume 2. To say I'm excited about this one would be an understatement, if you can't tell from my vigorous shaking. This is one of my favorite manga series of all time, and getting any volume of it has been so exciting. SuBLime publications are always super high quality and look nice and uniform across the shelf, and this is no exception. It's stunning, and I am so happy it's going to live on my shelf. Next up is Delinquent Daddy and Tender Teacher, Volume 3. This series kinda scares me. The kid looks a little weird, which I know I'm going to have an issue with, but I love some good child rearing, so I'm keeping an open mind. Unfortunately, you'll hear this a few times throughout this haul. This one was a victim of Amazon's poor packaging and fulfillment. I haven't started this series yet, so I'm not sure how upset I need to be, but a corner did get bent, and that's just unfortunate. Next up is Yes, No, or Maybe, Center of the World. This is the long-awaited continuation of Yes, No, or Maybe, which wasn't my favorite novel of all time, but it holds a special place in my heart as one of my first BL light novels. So I was super excited to finally get my hands on this. The third iteration is set for release too, and y'all know I have that one pre-ordered. It's a great time to be a BL fan. Next up is Number Call. I love a Kodansha release. Their designs are always very minimalistic, which speaks to me for some reason. This one is from the same creator as Summer With You, which I love and still need to review, so I had to get this one. If I did have to complain about something regarding smaller Kodansha releases, they do feel a bit thin and fragile, which this one does, but it's going to live safely on my bookshelf, so I'm not too bothered. Next up is Candy Color Paradox Assortment Pack. I was so excited about this. It's so rare for extras to be released for manga series over here in the United States, and for this to have happened for a series I absolutely love, I was stoked, to put it mildly. It's a thin little guy, but I have no doubt it's packed full of steamy treats. It's wrapped, so you know it's good. I'm really looking forward to this one. Next up is Acid Town, Volume 5. Tokyopop is one of my favorite publishers. Since they've started selling directly from their site, I am diligent about pre-ordering every BL release they announce, and this was one of them. It came early, just like the rest of the stuff I've pre-ordered, which makes me feel special. I haven't actually started the series yet, as I'm waiting for it to finish so I can binge, but it's Tokyopop, so I'm confident it's going to be a good one. Next up is, and forgive me if I mispronounce things, The Husky and His White Cat Shizune? Shizune, that just feels wrong. Anyway, Volume 4. Once again, we have another thick danmei. I swear it's only because of how thick and sturdy these boys are that Amazon hasn't damaged one yet for me. Knock on wood. Please. Please knock on wood. This particular series has some of the prettiest covers out there, and that makes it all the more tempting to jump on it and start reading. But I'm holding firm. I need to start a finished series, but as soon as this one does, I'm on it. Next up is The Dangerous Convenience Store, Volume 2. This one was a near victim to Amazon, but thankfully it was wrapped, which protected it. It was covered in some kind of weird fluid, and I was furious because I adore this series. Thankfully, it's safe and sound. And because I had to remove the wrapping to confirm that, you get to see if there are any naughty bits as I flip through it. Hope you enjoyed that. This has some really great spice, and I'm so happy it's one of the few, but quickly becoming many, Manhwa titles coming over to the United States. Next up is Cherry Magic 30 Years of Virginity Can Make You a Wizard, Volume 10. Unfortunately, this one came with the Dangerous Convenience Store and was not wrapped, so the weird fluid did get on this one, and that hurts so bad. It's warped and bent, battered and bruised, and I honestly did cry a bit. I'm tempted to buy another because I love the series so much and it has the wedding cover, but I can't decide if it's worth it or not. As a collector, this makes it hard to buy from Amazon because you just never know if your books are going to make it to you safely or not. Regardless, I'm very excited to have this volume. This series is everything, and I really need to start the anime. Next up is President Momoikun. This one wouldn't have been on my radar. It doesn't look like something I would read, but when June says a title is almost gone, it's almost gone. There are many series I've missed out on and had to buy for oodles more than I should have on eBay because it went out of print with June. It's a good sales tactic because that's why I have this, but it's also very annoying. Still, I'm looking forward to trying something outside of my usual fare. Next up, The Other World's books depend on the Bean Counter, the light novel series, Volume 1. When I heard this was also coming out alongside the manga, I was pumped. We desperately need more BL light novels, and this one is one I was very much looking forward to. I am loving the manga at the moment, and I found that I typically enjoy the original novels even more, so this one was an insta-buy. Unfortunately, it did get slightly damaged, but when compared to Cherry Magic, this isn't as bad. Another victim of Amazon, unfortunately. Next up, The Other World's books depend on the Bean Counter, the manga series, Volume 4. Coincidentally, I also got Volume 4 of the manga series this month. Once again, this series is so much fun. It's an isekai BL with high fantasy elements and a grumpy, tired office worker as the main character. Can relate, and this is just so good. The art is great too, and I'm looking forward to delving into this world once again. Next is The Contract Between a Spectre and a Servant, Volume 1. This month is looking like a novel smorgasbord, and I'm loving it. This is a small guy, which means it's probably going to be a perfect morsel to read over an afternoon. I don't know anything about the series other than the obvious relationship between a human and a ghost. I'm really looking forward to the dynamic. Next up is Thousand Autumns, Volume 4. My shelves are steadily being overrun with danmei. It's beautiful. I really need to look into some of these artists because they are so talented. These books could seriously just be framed and hung up. Add this to the running for danmei series I need to start. This choice is going to be impossible. If you have a recommendation, leave it in the comments. Help me, please. Next up is Minato's Laundromat Volume 2. This series looks so freaking cute. I haven't started it yet, but judging by the cover art and what I've read about the story, this seems right up my alley. I mean, the logo for the series has a little washing machine where the letter O should be in laundromat. How freaking cute is that? Such a nice detail. Plus, the back cover quote is, "I want to bang Akira Minato," and this came out on my birthday, March 19th, just so y'all know. It feels like it was made for me. Really looking forward to starting the series. Next up is Love Nest Second, Volume 2. This one completely snuck up on me. I missed it entirely. I do my best to try and pre-order any and all SuBLime titles, especially from this series because it is so good, but for whatever reason, I didn't get this one. The error has been rectified and now I have it. I am so freaking excited to start this new series from this universe. I really need to go back and review all the other completed ones, but just know I highly recommend them. Next is Seaside Stranger Volume 6. I gotta be real with y'all, this series is an odd one for me. I like parts, I love parts, some parts confuse me, some I hate. I am all over the place with this series. I love that it's so long running, the art's very cute, and it deals with very interesting aspects of relationships, but I'm not sure how to feel about it. I keep buying them without having to force myself, so clearly it isn't that terrible. I guess I'll just have to keep reading and see where I end up. Next up, Guardian Volume 2. Here's where I admit, this is probably the next anime I read. The third volume has just been announced, and I believe that's the last one, so it's time to start binging. This is apparently a very world-building heavy title, which has me super intrigued. I also love that this has a unique art style when compared to the covers of the other danmei I have. It just has me in a chokehold, so I'll probably start reading this series in preparation for the final volume release. Really excited about it. Next up is Super Morningstar Volume 3. Unlike many of the other manga I've been reading lately, this just screams fun and lighthearted. I haven't started it yet, but I'm planning on slotting this in between some darker fare, so hopefully I'm not being tricked. I'm not sure that the art style is really for me, but I'm excited to give it a go all the same. I'm looking forward to being pleasantly surprised. And last, but certainly not least, I got reincarnated in a BL world of Big Man Boobs Volume 1. I was so freaking excited when this got announced. It's an isekai and it mentions big man Man Boobs. What more could you want? The quote on the back cover is, "I just wanted to touch boobies," and I feel that on such a deep level. Unfortunately, this is another victim of Amazon packaging, and it is all eaten up on the back cover. Hurts my very soul. I think this is going to be hilarious, which only makes the damage all the more painful. Once again, trying to decide if it's worth repurchasing, but we'll see. Now, usually I would be showing you everything up close that I got, but unfortunately I've had a bit of a health scare, and admittedly I just wasn't feeling up to it. I'm so sorry. Next time I will do better, assuming all goes well with my health stuff, and I hope you look forward to it. Until then though, this is everything I got in March. It was really fun sharing what I got with you guys, and of course showing off my dogs. If you'd like to see more for the rest of the year, let me know and comment below. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time. Bye!